Hi everyone. Have you ever wondered why do we need a final impression for complete dentures when you already have a primary impression on your hand and you would unnecessarily painstakingly make a custom tray on it and proceed with a final or a definitive impression. Why is it required? Why is it so essential? Let me tell you why. Let's take the more difficult arch to record, which is the lower arch, as an example. As usual, this is your host, Dr. Amit Sadhwani, MDS Prosthodontics from India, coming up with a new video after a small hiatus. Let's proceed. Well, when you already have well rolled borders on your primary impression, why make one more impression? Primary impressions are usually made on stock trays, isn't it? Well, stock trays are bulk trays. They are not custom fit to the underlying tissues. Here is an impression made by alginate. If you carefully see, one of the most vital anatomical landmarks is the retromolar pad, and I have recorded it well in this case. Are you able to see it? Here it is. So you need to mark the vital anatomical landmarks onto your primaries so that you are able to transfer it onto your primary cast. Why is retromolar pad important? Well, I have discussed this thing before during my lectures and presentations and the workshops which we conduct, that retromolar pad is the primary retentive landmark on the lower arch foundation. So once you record it, you are able to provide an escape mechanism for the lower denture, a retentive landmark on which the lower denture would rely upon. So we record it during the primary impression and we mark it. Let's check out the other side. Again, we have marked it on the other side. Well, can I possibly make my denture on the primary cast? Well, not really. This particular impression was a well-made impression. It had rolled borders. It covered all the essential features of the lower arch foundation. But what about this impression? There are a number of areas where the tray is exposed, and I really haven't been able to record the extent in those areas. Would you want to see them closely? Watch it. You need to read your impressions well. Also, on the other side, if you could see the vital anatomical landmark which I discussed before, the retromolar pad, has been exposed. We also have some lingual exposure here, which signifies that your alginate has not completely covered the vestibules all over, typically the buccal and the lingual posterior areas. So that's precisely the reason once I am not able to record the vital structures well or mold them physiologically in alginate, so we would need an additional step, like for example the final impression which is made with a custom tray and border molded through green stick, and a wash impression made either through a light body or with zinc oxide eugenol paste. Well, don't get me wrong here. I'm really not vouching for the mistakes which we make during the primary impression, or I'm taking those mistakes for granted for that matter. But in such cases, a well molded final impression is the only answer, where you are able to rectify the mistakes which are made during the PI. You're getting a second chance here, isn't it? And also whereby you are able to provide a rightly extended outline which produces a denture border and which closely resembles your final impression. Mind you, your denture borders are just like your final impression borders. Alright, so what about impression compound? Now this was alginate. You might as well land up exposing alginate onto the peripheries of the stock tray, and you may not be able to reline alginate with alginate again. But with respect to compound, you may possibly be able to reheat a particular segment and make an impression again in the second attempt. Some people ask me, why not make an impression with medium fusing compound and treat it as the final impression? So you may be able to achieve an overextended final impression, so to say, if you are using impression compound. Your primary impression may look just like your final impression, but believe me, it's going to be grossly overextended. Compound, also being a bulk material, may not be able to give you an accurate record of the surface of the tissues. So the fine anatomical landmarks and the fine anatomical features of the edentulous foundation may not be able to be recorded with impression compound. Well, especially maxillary ridges, where eventually alginate might be a preferred choice for some people. So hence a need for second impression or a definitive impression in order to achieve a more physiological mold and a more accurate impression. That's it for now. Do meet me in Nagpur next week. It's on 25th and 26th of June 2022 in association with 32 Dentrain in Nagpur. We have a comprehensive 2-day structured program for dental practitioners and postgraduate students as well, who are joining us to learn removable prosthodontics in its most intricate details. Also, further ahead, our 6th masterclass as usual in Thane at Dr. Sadhwani's Care Dental and Implant Center. That's going to be in July on 9th and 10th. So you can get connected with Dr. Mahi Sadhwani through a call or WhatsApp in order to register. Thank you so much for your patient listening. I promise you to come up with more videos and more content on prosthodontics on my YouTube channel, on Instagram and Facebook. Keep connected. See ya.